Oh,
Welcome to the second episode of Current Status. Today is November 13th of 2014, and I am Teresa Miller, and with us today we also have
we
the
have
rest of the ladies.
yes, the rest of the Trinity. My name is Melissa Palmer. I'm Venus33 on Twitter.
And I'm Pumla Schmidt, also known as Exchange Goddess on Twitter.
And that's a good point. I should mention I'm 24/7 IT Connect. Is the camera... okay, this is going to goof things up. Is the camera switching to me? Because I just see Pumla.
Yeah, it's switching to you.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
All right, so back on track. First of all, we wanted to just thank everybody for all the support as we are getting started with using the Hangout and the new equipment and just the support in general of what we're doing here every week with you. So thank you so much. What we want to talk about first today is Amazon had a conference this week. It was held November 11th, and I believe it's finishing up tomorrow. There have been a lot of really great announcements that came out of that conference, so we did want to start off with that.
Yeah, I actually thought the conference seems really interesting. Obviously, I didn't go, I'm here. But one thing that interested me was the fact that a lot of the announcements were geared towards compliance, security. Mm-hmm. It definitely had an enterprise feel to it, like they were selling to CEOs or C-levels, really trying to get that enterprise into the cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one of the other things they came out with was the Amazon EC2 container service. So everybody's hearing a lot about Docker being really hot. You know, Amazon's just proving that they're committed to keeping up with current technologies, becoming more enterprise ready, and offering new options to their customers and trying to get people to go to the cloud.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was very interesting, the whole security aspect, because there are a lot of businesses that just, it's intriguing, but, you know, security concerns really have people going, I'm not quite sure it's secure. You know, is my data really my data? Do you meet all the regulatory compliance standards? So that definitely has a business enterprise marketing feel to it. I think it's a great move, though. I mean, they definitely have a great marketing team to go that way, because who else? I mean, you market towards the enterprise. That's great. I mean, that's thousands, millions of dollars, and they're, you know, why a lot of these businesses, why be in a data center? It costs money.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing. I was impressed with the list of announcements. I agree, it's definitely very enterprise focused. One of the other standouts to me was they added another level of database compatibility with Aurora.
I did see that. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, just making sure that they're appealing to all enterprises. You know, the database list, there's 5 of them now with that Aurora edition, so including Microsoft SQL, Oracle, and a couple others. So pretty fascinating.
You know, new generation of compute layer coming out. You know, adding more features to the storage. It's been really interesting stuff.
Well, it basically means, why have your own data center if we can do it for you? You know, why be in a data center business? We can do everything for you. We could do security, compliance. We could do your compute. You know, all your databases. It's basically selling to the C-level, because now the C-levels are thinking, well, heck, man, I don't need to care for my data center anymore. Let's get rid of the generator. Let's get rid of this, you know, this room in the back here in the basement that's costing me thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean and maintain.
Do you really think everybody gets rid of everything, though, or has it become more of a hybrid model where you send certain applications, certain things to the cloud, and you keep something?
I think it's a combination. I think it depends on the business. There's some businesses that you can fully go to the cloud, and then there's some that you can't even touch the cloud.
Right.
You can't even think about it because, you know, like the energy business, the regulations around there is just ridiculous. So the cloud has not really gotten to that point yet. Maybe a private cloud, but a public cloud, not so much. I really think it's down to the business that you're in, the industry.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to be pushy salesperson or anything, but one thing that NetApp offers is we have something called NetApp private storage, and we have it for AWS and other people. So it's you own the storage, your data stays on the storage, but you can connect into the cloud for the compute layer. So if things like that come out too, that just helps people move to the cloud and helps them get comfortable and takes away some of those barriers.
Hybrid.
People are really catching on. I think hybrid cloud is going to be the answer to a lot of things. Not completely public, not completely private, but hybrid.
I would agree. And I guess this kind of leads into our topic for the day, or the landscape of IT and how it's changing. And where it's headed, and I guess this is a great time to introduce our guest host, the SDN Unicorn.
How are you, Mr. Unicorn?
Yes, we do have a unicorn, everybody.
We have a unicorn.
We found a unicorn.
I see it.
I think Teresa has Skittles, too.
I do. I brought my Skittles. I need to feed the unicorn. Oh!
Hello.
Unicorns do like Skittles.
Yes, we do.
So that's why we have Skittles here.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to eat them while we're chatting.
Oh, go right ahead.
Oh, I forgot to introduce my wine of the evening. I just grabbed a Joseph Carr Cabernet Sauvignon. So nothing fancy. It is, I'd say, probably another everyday wine that we keep on the counter. Nice red wine. So, Mr. Unicorn, what are you drinking today?
I'm actually having a bourbon old-fashioned with Four Roses bourbon and homemade simple syrup and a giant ice cube.
So is that what unicorns drink?
Yes. Unicorns are powered by bourbon, scotch, and pretty much any other kind of whiskey. Because if you hear cloud as much as we do, you just start drinking at 8 a.m. It dulls the pain after a while.
So Tom, what is your impression of this IT landscape, this change, this cloud?
It's really interesting because it's scaring the hell out of people left and right. Networking people think that their jobs are in danger. Server virtualization people think their jobs are in danger because everything's going to the cloud. Storage people are worried because all of a sudden everything's being converged down onto things. And it gets real interesting after a while because it seems like everybody thinks that they're about to be out of a job. But in reality, what's happening is that the job pool isn't growing. It's getting tighter because people are going to have to pick up new skills. I actually at VMworld this year during the V Brown Bag Underground talk, I actually said something to the effect of the world's always going to need ditch diggers. And I got a whole bunch of people scowling at me in the room. And I was like, whoa, wait, you guys aren't ditch diggers. You've already gone through this once before. Remember when we all managed 2 or 3 Windows boxes? Now how many Windows boxes do we manage? We manage 2 or 3 servers that are running 40 Windows boxes. And so that kind of shift is happening everywhere else now too. So what you're seeing is, storage units are becoming less manage that one box and manage all of these boxes together. And networking is doing the same thing. I don't hire a guy to telnet to that switch and make changes. Now it's you do it for all the network.
So I have a question. So what are you seeing in terms of how organizations are dealing with the cloud? Like, are organizations getting more comfortable with it, maybe through doing like backups or disaster recovery as a means of using the cloud? Is that maybe part of that landscape change?
Yes, it is. It used to be, I joked when Microsoft was making those commercials, join us in the cloud. It's like, okay, who are you really trying to appeal to? But there's 2 ways to get to the cloud that most organizations are taking today. The first way is, like you said, they're doing trial proof of concept where they're saying, hey, what if I do offsite storage for my backups in like an AWS EC2 instance? Something along those lines. And that's really gaining a lot of traction because it's easy and it's not mission critical. Now, the other way that people are doing it is shadow IT. So the guys in marketing get a credit card. Yeah, they get a credit card, and AWS makes it stupid simple to put a whole bunch of infrastructure on a Visa, and then you can expense that. Like we need to run an extra 10,000 emails this month for a marketing campaign, but we don't have the on-prem hardware to do that. So let's just shell it to AWS and do that. And then the next thing you know, half of your infrastructure is running in AWS, and the guys in marketing and compliance are going, why are we doing this again? And where's all that data living?
In the cloud somewhere with the unicorns.
Exactly. You know, the compliance guys are out there like they look like me now, and and everybody else, it's just like, oh, come on, it's just another server. How bad can it be? But
it's out there somewhere.
Cloud is actually, it's starting to drive a lot of decisions. I actually got a job offer from a good friend of mine working at an enterprise, and her exact words to me were, I want to find somebody who's not scared of the cloud, who understands that on-premise hardware is going away, and I don't want them to bullshit me.
That's a pretty good statement. I don't think you should be scared of the cloud.
No, not at all.
I think we should embrace it. It's here, whether you like it or not. So choose to live with it. The cloud is here, so accept it and bring it into your lives somehow. I mean, just like Office 365, that's the cloud.
That's the cloud. Everything we touch on a day-to-day basis, something is the cloud. Whether we know it or not, I guarantee we're all using it.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I like the cloud because that is less work for me. I'm lazy. I'm lazy. The manager is better. I mean, think about it. Like Office 365, how many Exchange servers would you need for an enterprise with 10,000 people? I mean, that could be up to 10 servers. If I can offload that to the cloud, hell yeah, I would. That means I have less to do. I don't have to manage servers. I can manage, user mailboxes, and that's it. I don't have to worry about the backups.
I think a lot of things that we see go to the cloud are going to be things that, while they're core to your business, they're not core to growing your business or innovating. Stuff like Office, stuff like Exchange, things that it takes my staff a lot of time to do. My web hosting, stuff like that.
I would say Exchange is very core to your business because the second email is slow down.
Right. I said core to your business, but if I have you, who's a brilliant engineer, running my Exchange environment and just doing that, what other things could you be doing if you didn't have to do that as much?
Oh, I did everything else anyway, so it didn't really matter. No, but yeah, I hear what you're saying, but if Exchange is down,
you're done. Yeah, basically.
Get the world. I mean, I've had people pace up and down my cubicle because they didn't get their email in 10 minutes. I'm like, seriously? Do you have nothing better to do? Wait 10 minutes. It's not the end of the world. Maybe it's the internet that's slowing it down. It's on their Exchange server.
So to that point, though, Pumala, I would have to say that businesses need to really take a look at what their requirements are, because some are not willing to take that 10-minute delay, and then that might mean it's not a fit for that organization. Right. Or even some of the downtimes that Office 365 has had, and some have impacted email, they have to be willing to do that, because if they have a better SLA on-prem, they may not do it.
I heard the government side has a better SLA. That's just rumor. That's what they hear. Not confirmed or denied yet. But let's go back to Amazon. I mean, Amazon's SLA is pretty good. You really don't hear them having major outages.
A couple of years ago, you did though.
Yeah, when they first started out.
Yeah, they were out. Remember, there was a huge Netflix outage. Like everything went out in 1 week.
Yeah, I remember that a couple of years ago. I do. That was like a big deal. Oh my God, Amazon's out. Yeah.
But Netflix fixed that problem. They started architecting their system to avoid major outages.
Yes, because I believe the problem was they were only in one availability zone in Amazon at the time, and that one went out, and then they were
failure.
So a good friend of mine this year told me something about Google. Inside of Google, if you create an application that fails because of a network outage, it's on you as a developer that the application failed, not on the networking team. Now, obviously, networking failures at Google are kind of a random occurrence, but Google takes the view that infrastructure is going to be there, but it's not perfect. It's going to fail. You need to design applications to anticipate failure and move around it.
Application level resiliency.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Why do you make Exchange so much? Availability built within the application. I'm telling you. Right. I don't understand why people. I just worked on a migration this week, where they were using a third-party replication type software.
How'd that work out for them?
I call it the devil, okay? Why do you think I have 2 bottles of wine right now? Okay, I'm still migrating. But if the application is built properly, it has that high availability. Yeah, I totally agree with the whole Google. The networking is there. It's fine. Build your application.
Yes.
So totally.
I would agree. I think the landscape is changing greatly, and as those products become more reliable, yeah, I agree. It's here to stay.
Now, one thing that I have seen on the East Coast, because we had Hurricane Sandy here a couple of years ago, and if you had both your data centers on the East Coast in the same area when Sandy hit, you weren't really in a good place so much.
What are you thinking?
Well, people know that because it never happened before, right? So, yeah, we had that power outage and blackout, but, some people didn't learn their lesson. And I've seen as a result, a lot of people kind of go to the cloud for DR and use that as their DR instead of a traditional second data center someplace.
Oh, it's only an hour away. It's easier for us to drive. Okay, so what if Sandy comes around again? Yeah, I think if you are going to go to the cloud, think about it and think about natural disasters. I mean, do you really want your second data center being an hour away? Why not on the other side of the country, like Utah, where everybody or the majority of major data centers are at?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Utah isn't going to fall off the face of the earth. That's California, so maybe oceanfront property.
Or do you even necessarily need the second data center?
Yeah. East Coast, West Coast, divided up. Great concept right there. But if you have your data center in the same state within an hour or 2 hours of each other, is that really high availability? Like Sandy. And these sides come back. But what happens then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if your data centers are in the same time zone, you didn't plan properly.
That's a good point. I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah, that's a really excellent
But then what about the cost, though? That's where the business comes. Well, it's too expensive to run out on the West Coast. Cheaper to run out of this data center because it's on the East Coast. It's almost like a business decision then.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll go downstairs and I'll pull the plug out on all the servers, and I'll start looking at my watch, and you tell me when the expensive downtime gets more than the expense of moving everything over to the West Coast. The way I'm marking the time now, so you guys can run around and scream for a bit, but it's going to cost you about $40,000.
Just $40,000?
I'm big in object lessons. I'm going to prove to you that this is the better way to do it, even if it requires you to scream at me for a while.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to do a shout out to a friend of mine who's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So data centers in Tulsa, Midwest. Don't you live in the Midwest, Tom?
I do.
Yeah.
I live in Norman, Oklahoma. I live about an hour and a half from your friend.
Yeah, she lives in Tulsa. So she's actually an IT director, another woman in IT. She moved, worked her way up, and she got promoted to a divisional information officer, which it's basically a CIO for a division. So I'm very, very proud of her. She said Tulsa.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Tulsa,
Yeah.
great place for a data center. Other than those tornadoes.
Every once in a while. Actually, we have earthquakes now. I felt one yesterday.
Oh, VMworld. Did you guys feel the earthquake in VMworld?
That was the first earthquake ever. It was crazy. I didn't know what was going on.
I woke up and I was like, honey? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I think that's an earthquake. He's like, yeah, let me check Twitter real quick. Yeah, that's an earthquake.
Well, I was like, I was kind of like, sleepy. So I'm like, it just feels like it's gently swaying me. What's going on? And then my phone starts going off. I'm like, oh, it's an earthquake apparently. Interesting.
Yeah, I told my husband, let me check Twitter, and he's like laying there. He's like, well, let me check the news. I'm like, don't worry, I'll check Twitter. He turned the TV on. I found out before him it was a real earthquake. I said, turn the TV off, honey. It's a just earthquake. He's like, okay, let's go back to bed. Okay. It was quite funny though. So.
Oh, okay. How about we talk about a couple other things too?
Yeah. Oh. What? Skype for Business.
Skype for Business?
Yes.
My only problem with Skype for Business is the branding, because I don't associate Skype with business.
I don't
either.
Maybe they should have rebranded Skype to Link. What do you think, Tom?
Skype has better name recognition in the consumer space, and so I think this was their attempt to capitalize on that. Let's face it, this is the third time they've changed the name of that product. So I'm sure they're going to call it Microsoft Bob 2 pretty soon. Or
it's all about branding, though. Honestly, look at VMware with vRealize. Seriously, I'm actually confused. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's called anymore. I just go, it's that VMware product that does the cloud thing. Yeah.
Cisco did that years ago. It used to be a product called Call Manager, which they inherited from a company called Celsius. Now it is the Cisco Unified Communications Manager, and I have never called it that. As a matter of fact, you can actually tell how long an SE's been working at Cisco by the number of times he accidentally calls it Call Manager in a presentation. So I imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of people at Microsoft that are going to say, so in Microsoft Link, Skype for Business.
I gotta be honest, Virtual Center still slips out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Skype for Business, it just doesn't ring. Skype for Business. I like to
Oh. But I think it's interesting that we're seeing a lot more of these collaboration type things, because Skype was probably one of the real, first video, audio, internet chat apps, right?
Man, Skype was like, hey, I'm Skyping my cousin and talking right now. Yeah. My new fiance, we're Skyping. That's how people.
We actually, Tech Field Day runs off of Skype. I spend all day in Skype IM windows and Skype calls. Yeah, if we didn't have.
Jennifer Lawrence interviewed for Silver Linings through Skype. Mm-hmm. There you go, Oscar-winning actress, Skype.
That's true. That's true. I definitely think there's value in it, though, especially the video portion. If it's someone like, you can take the three of us. It's not like we're all going to get together in a coffee shop, four of us with Mr. Unicorn here. We're not just going to get together in a coffee shop, so we get to see each other's facial interactions, see me making wild hand gestures, because that's what I do all the time. You'd never know that on the phone.
I am going to say that Skype iOS app sucks donkey ass. It's horrible. I've been saying for, 2 years now on Twitter? It takes like days until I get an update on my iOS app. Mm-hmm. Seriously, guys, you get
really?
Oh my God, yeah. I'm on a conversation that's been going on for, I'm gonna say 2 years now with the V Posse, and it could be days till I get an update, and I'll check in, I'm like, hi guys, and that's like 3 days later, and I'm like, gosh,
that's awful.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really awful, but it's a great way to communicate, though. That's why we're still on it. Hi, V Posse. Shout-outs today.
Yeah. How about, there was a little bit of a Windows bug.
Yes.
Yeah, what the heck was up with that?
Seriously. I don't know. I think
and they hid it. They hid it for
do you think
ever until they fixed it.
Did they really fix it? I mean, or was that the back door? Was it the back door for the NSA?
That's what they're saying. They're saying that they didn't publicly release that it was there for the last 19 years until
Windows. Seriously.
Until they fixed it.
When's the last time you guys actually used object linking and embedding?
Right. Yeah, that's.
I can remember reading about it when it was a new feature in Windows 3.1.1.
It seemed cool.
Oh yeah.
Great.
There's still Windows 95 running a payroll application. Okay, so I want to hear about it. Some people are still doing it.
I'm not saying they're not doing it. I'm just now.
It's their business. Okay, people get paid from that.
And you know what? It's a bulletproof application because all the people who wrote exploits for Windows 95 have probably gone to the retirement home by now.
Dementia.
What do you think a hacker retirement home is like?
What a hacker retirement home is like? Lots of free cable.
Free everything. They have free HBO.
Everything's free.
Popcorn, candy, gummies, and alcohol, probably. Yeah,
their phone's probably been blacklisted by every pizza delivery place on the planet.
Oh, definitely. Probably a little bit of acid here on the side, too. Oh, clowns, like, walking around.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't do clowns. I don't do clowns. No clowns.
So, yeah, I do have to bring this up though. Did the internet break this week? Apparently,
No, no, Agent P.
did not break.
Did not break. Do you know why the internet not
She
break?
tried.
The internet did not break.
Seriously?
Yeah, I have to bring it up because you can't break the internet. Okay, there's redundancy. There's high availability. Sorry, okay, you can't break the internet.
Yeah.
I have to admit, she does have talent, though. I did see the photos. Definitely.
Really?
I
And how much Photoshop do you think went into them? Come on.
They see there's no filter, though. Okay.
Oh, hashtag no filter. It must be true. I read it on the internet.
For the record, I cannot balance a champagne glass on my ass. I give her full props for that. She definitely talented. She can do that, and that definitely was not Photoshop.
So, but okay, you know what almost broke the internet? Humanity landed a robot on a comet.
I saw it. Isn't that freaking awesome?
Now, it's stuff like that that should break the internet.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would agree to that, and if I had a wine glass right now, I'd even drink to that.
Yes, it was actually the European Space Agency had really great coverage online. They were streaming for like days ahead of time, and they just played cool music and mission control, so I would have that on in the background. But they had the people who discovered the comet, they had the engineers, they had everybody coming in and talking up to the time where they actually were waiting to hear if it landed. So they believed they had landed on the comet, but there was a 26-minute delay. That's how long it would take communication to reach us. So it was a very tense 26-minute. All the engineers, there's actually this one guy in a hoodie, and he was like shaking his head and not looking happy for a while. So we're just getting a little kind of worried that maybe things weren't going so good. But in the end, we landed on a comet.
Isn't that sad, though? Something like that didn't make top news, but KK's ass did. I'm sorry, but that's I mean, something like that should be, headline news.
It was trending on Twitter. It was, so.
It was, but everybody was also staring at her picture that she released. And
Right.
to me, but then that also comes back to the landscape of IT and how IT is changing, and just technology in general, the consumerization of IT. I mean, we're IT's all around us, technology.
Everything.
And how we use it. Like these, basic
It's fascinating.
buzzing off.
Well, you said it earlier. You checked Twitter to find out if there was an earthquake before you actually turned on the news.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because Twitter's
I
quicker.
didn't turn on the news.
I don't even check Facebook anymore. I'm not a big Facebook person. Twitter is actually quicker than Facebook.
Yeah.
I actually never used Twitter till I met Agent P.
Yeah, I
She
told her.
got me on Twitter, and I agree. It's phenomenal. I don't know how I would survive without it.
I told her, I won't be your friend anymore if you're not on Twitter.
Aww.
I threatened her.
But I'm gonna date myself a little bit here. But when I first started in IT and I was in college, all my internet searches were command line.
Ooh.
And within a year or two, yeah. I have hair on my head, though.
Wait.
So you actually used Gopher and Archie, right?
Yeah,
I did.
I used Gopher too.
I did.
It was awesome. It was fun. I remember making a computer lab at Millersville. Yeah, Gopher. I loved it. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, think about how hard that. I mean, it wasn't. Well, it was complicated. It wasn't as simple as picking up your phone.
Consumable.
It was the internet. Like, oh my God, hold on a second,
Yeah. No pictures. It just, yeah. So it's changed, and it's been fascinating and awesome to see it every step of the way.
Well, my daughter this week, she's in the special reading class, and she got this packet, and it had those QR scanners. She's like, Mommy, I need to download this app. And I'm like, oh, sure, whatever, I'm like drinking a glass of wine. She's downloading an app. She's like, it's like scan or something. It's free, though. Okay, sure. She scans it. She's like, look, oh, fuck, I got all these videos. I turn around, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. And it was just like this piece of paper with the scanner. She scans it, and she has like 50 items she has to read for like the next week or two. Like, wow. She's in second grade, 8 years old. 8 years old, what do we do? I was playing with Barbies, maybe, brushing my hair, and,
Yeah.
running around playing tag. But no, she just downloaded an app, scanned something, and now she's got 50 items she has to read for 2 weeks. That's, again, the landscape of IT.
Totally different.
It is different. And with that, that's about all the time we have for this evening. Thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you to my co-hosts, Agent P and 24/7 IT Connect. And Mr. SD Anicorn, is that how I pronounce it? SD Anicorn?
Yes, that's right.
We talked about kangaroos. Oh, wow.
Okay, SD Anicorn, we have a question for you.
Go for it.
How would a unicorn and a kangaroo get along? Do you think that would work out?
I think it would. Yeah, kangaroos are famously ill-tempered animals, but a unicorn has a calming influence on everyone.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Most people around me at conferences tend to be calmed by the unicorn.
But you're not a
or is
unicorn.
that freaked out?
Unicorn.
I have some evidence that say something different, though. So
Well,
I'm not sure.
I thought we agreed that evidence was going to be buried.
I see the kangaroo as on-premise and the unicorn as the cloud. And I think there is a way that maybe there's a hybrid.
We're going to have to think about what this hybrid animal might be.
So a
kangacorn?
A kangacorn?
Unaroo?
Or a unaroo? Yeah.
Unaroo. I like that. I think I wore unaroos when I was a kid.
Unaroo.
Not to be confused with the underoo, right?
Well, if
yeah,
any of our viewers want to make us a unaroo or a kangacorn, we'd be certainly open to it.
Trending. I like a unaroo.
Unaroo. I think it's a unaroo.
A unaroo.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will be back next week, same time, Thursday, 10:15 Eastern Time, with a new guest and new topic to discuss. Thank you again at Networking Nerd, also known as SD Anicorn, for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.